So we are speaking about consciousness as the one doer and one experiencer. And the root of this is that ancient Indian scripture, line in the scripture which says, Tvam karta and Tvam bhokta. Tvam karta, Tvam bhokta. Which means that you are the doer, or thou art the doer, and you are the experiencer. It's very good. We'll discuss this today. So the only thing which is ever present, the only thing which is ever present is the pure witnessing itself. The pure awareness itself is ever present. And all states arise for this witnessing. And within this witnessing itself, all states arise within this witnessing itself. And in this witnessing, consciousness or beingness takes birth. So when there was just pure seeing, the first phenomena or the immaculate conception of the sense I am is born. This is the pure being. And when the presence of this pure being is seen, then that is called the waking state or the dream states. Is the presence of consciousness, is the presence of the so-called conscious states. So it is clearly seen in the beginning that awareness is all there is. And when this waking state is to happen, there's this birth of this sense of being. And this being wakes up, and then in the light of this being itself, the entire phenomenal universe wakes up. And when this being is not present, then no phenomenal existence can be there. So all states which are conscious states have the presence of this sense I am. In fact, this I amness is consciousness itself. So all that appears to us is in the light of this. Even in the dream, first there has to be this me, the sense I am, for the dream to exist. And all is allowed to play out even in the dream. Like there will be a body, all the forces of pain and pleasure, the entire universes, all will be seen. It's not like you come to a dream state and you can reach the edge of a dream. You don't run out of the dream space or time. It keeps going and it is unlimited. In the same way, this phenomenal world of the seeming waking state, which is actually no different from the dream state, seems to appear with unlimited time and space. Nobody has come to the edge of time or the edge of space. Then what happens? When this sense of beingness is there, then we see that there are all kinds of appearances, seemingly external appearances and seemingly internal appearances. But they're all dancing in front of this awareness itself. So the pure witnessing remains untouched, but all the appearances start appearing. Then what happens? We see that when we look at the seemingly internal appearances, we see that there could be a thought which is just another appearance. There could be an emotion which is just another appearance. But we say it is my thought. We say it is my emotion. And in the same way, there are actions which happen through the body, and we say it is my action. So, like my master says, you are not the thinker of your thought, nor the doer of your actions. See? And when we investigate this purely scientifically, we can investigate this. And if we just check, did I create my thought? Is there an individual entity called a person who created a thought? And is there an individual entity here which decided to do an action or not? You will see that it is completely untrue. No such individual personal identity exists. You will see that it is purely imagined. It is only made up of the beliefs that we carry. So, like we say, the person is only the sum total of all the beliefs which have been carried up to this point. And as we let go of these beliefs, we see that the individual entity called the person is completely non existent. But what does exist is the light of beingness itself. This presence I amness cannot be denied in the waking state. In the waking state, nobody can truly deny their own existence as the presence I am. Nobody can truly say I am not. And we see that it is only in the light of this does the phenomenal world continue to move around. And whenever this sense I am is present, in whatever state it might be, there is some movement. You see? So all this is happening through the light of consciousness itself. And that's why we say that consciousness is the one doer. Because we see that there is a beautiful pattern of movement. Everyone's heart seems to be moving. Breath seems to be happening. Gravity seems to be working. Electricity seems to be flowing. Magnetism seems to work. And each with some predetermined constants and rules. Evolution seems to occur. So, what is the supreme intelligence which is keeping track of all of this? Like I jokingly say, was there a committee that sat and decided on what the value of gravity must be? What supreme intelligence keeps track of mutations in every next generation? What we call evolution. What is the supreme intelligence which is keeping track? You see? And what is the supreme intelligence which is keeping track so that from generation to generation, the body which is being received by humans seems to have bigger heads. So it must be this one consciousness itself. This being itself, which is the light of this universe, must be this light. Therefore, we say this one is the one doer. Who is making the neurons fire? Who is making light travel at a constant speed? Who has created the rules of physics, chemistry, biology? So, all scientists have so far come to conclusions about what is going on and at what rate they happen. But nobody is able to tell us why it happens in this particular way. Nobody can tell us why light seems to travel at a particular speed. Nobody can say who decided that this would be the speed of light, isn't it? Therefore, for me, it is completely clear that only in the light of this being, this consciousness, all of this is done by itself. Because this consciousness is present, is ever present in the now, and the person is never present except in our imagination. Consciousness is ever present in the now, the person is never present except in our imagination. See? So that was the part about being the one doer. Then we say, why do we say that consciousness is also the one experiencer? Yes. And in this, you must see that there is a difference between the pure witnessing and the experiencing of phenomena. I know this can be a point of confusion for some of you, so today we can clarify this. There's the pure witnessing which is untouched by all phenomena, and yet there is an experiencing of phenomena. See? So if I eat an ice cream, there is an experiencing of taste. And even this experience of taste ultimately is witnessed by the pure awareness. But the experiencing of taste can only happen in the presence of beingness itself. Again, there is no person which is experiencing anything. This person cannot be found. But there is the presence of beingness here. You see? So, experiencing through senses or internal imagery, memories, internal emotions being experienced, all again happens in the presence of being itself, and this experiencing is also witnessed. There is a witnessing of this experiencing as well. So therefore, we say the one doer of all phenomena and the one experiencer of all phenomena must be this being, this consciousness itself. It most definitely cannot be a person because the person is not to be found. Yes. So this is part of the understanding. Then many of us get stuck with this point saying that, okay, I am clear that there is no person here. They say this, you see. They say that I am clear that there is no person here. But why don't other people get this? You see the irony in this? I am clear that there is no person here. But why doesn't my partner get this? Or why don't other people that I come in contact with just don't understand? You see? So we claim to have dropped the personhood here, very conveniently for ourselves, but we refuse to drop the sense of personhood for others. If there is no person here, then there cannot be any person anywhere. So all is a doing of consciousness itself. So not only must we see that there is no person here, we also see that no person ever existed actually. It was all just one big movie or video game.